everybody, it's Megan and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the little bell next to it. I put videos out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. They contain mommy stuff, lifestyle stuff, and family vlogs. So I hope you guys enjoy. Today we are going to be talking about how I prefer an unmedicated birth compared to a medicated birth. Now, if you are new to my channel and you don't know, I have two boys. I have Liam, who is 3.5, and Nolan, who is 1.5. So I had two very different births, extremely 100% opposite. So my first, Liam, was born 3 weeks early he was about 7 pounds, 11 ounces, I believe, and it was a 20-hour labor. I was induced twice. I was given an epidural. I was given tons of medication through an IV, and I had a really bad recovery with that. Now, with my second, Nolan, it was a 2-hour labor and delivery from start to finish, down to the minute. I was unmedicated, I was up and walking immediately, and it was just a whole different experience. So personally, I prefer an unmedicated birth over a medicated. Now, I know that I kind of had no choice the second time around, but after going through that and realizing just how much better my body was, next time for baby number 3, when that happens, I planned for an unmedicated birth. So right off the bat, I am not judging anybody whatsoever on the type of birth that you have. Getting that baby out healthy, making you healthy, happy, everyone's happy. It doesn't matter how it comes out, because that baby is going to come out one way or another. I was kind of afraid of my first birth. By the time I got to my second, I was like, it's going to come however it's going to come. And sure enough, it did. So every birth is different, every pregnancy different, every baby is different, every person is different. So whatever works for you, happy, healthy, that is the way to go. I'm just sharing my experience of how a medicated birth was compared to an unmedicated birth, and like why I prefer one over the other. So why I prefer it. I had such a horrible experience the first time around. My water broke before anything else had happened. There was no dilation, there was no nothing. Now I am going to be talking some terminology. There's no graphic or anything, but I will talk about terminology. So this is about birth. If you don't like that kind of stuff, click away, because this will talk about like terminology of birth. So I had no idea what to expect. I go in and they tell me I'm not dilated, so they have to induce me. Now that means medication was put up onto my cervix to try to thin it out. And then once that didn't work the first time, they put something else up there. And that worked immediately within 10 minutes. So it just needed that extra push. Well, my body wasn't ready to go into labor, so they had to give me Pitocin. That's more medication going into your system. And if you've had Pitocin, you know that those contractions go from absolutely nothing to like the hardest ones you possibly can imagine, especially for your first go around with this. So they immediately kick in, and it's the middle of the night. It's like 3 a.m. or something, and I'm just exhausted, haven't slept since like the whole night before. And my nurse walks in and says, "You want an epidural?" And of course I'm like, yes, without even like really thinking about it. So I get the epidural. That's more medication put into me. And it would have been awesome if it had worked, but it didn't. So they stuck it in my leg. I believe it was my left leg. One of my legs, the medicine just like shot. It felt like it literally shot through my leg. My leg went straight out. It hurt so horribly bad. Now, I know this can happen. It happened to my mom. She had to get 2 epidurals with me. So I know it can happen. I really didn't think it was going to happen to me, but it did. So the anesthesiologist was like, I can't really do much for you with that. So whatever is in there is what you're going to have to deal with. That's like literally what he said to me, and then walked out the door. So they had to flip me from side to side because the medication would only stay on one side of my body. So then I kind of have to like roll over and let it like, I guess, seep into the other side. Not exactly sure, but they had to flip me from side to side. And then I would like keep trying to press my button because I would feel something. So I'd be adding more medication. Well, it wouldn't kick in. The pain was just outnumbering the medicine, I guess. So by the time I was able to deliver, I felt everything. Medication, mind you, was still being pumped through my system. It just took a really long time for that to kick in. So finally, I get the baby out. I have a almost 3rd-degree tear. It was a 2nd degree and like deep, I guess. So it was pretty massive down. Like it was quite a scene down there. So they had to stitch me up. Felt all of it. They finally gave me medication for that. So that's more medication being put into me. By the time that the baby we'd had skin on skin. I'd been stitched up. Like everything had been good. I didn't bleed too much, was awesome. Like everything came out like it should. And I still had my IV. I still had my epidural in. And they go to kind of just take everything out of me. And the amount of medication in me made my stomach a mess. Like it was just a mess. I got sick. I almost passed out just trying to get feeling back into my legs because that epidural medicine that wasn't working for the pain, once the pain was like, it kicked in. It kicked in about an hour after my son was born, and my legs were all floppy. I couldn't feel anything. They're telling me to get up. They're telling me to walk. They're telling me to go to the bathroom. They're telling me to do all this stuff. And I literally passed out on the toilet trying to do everything that they wanted me to do. I got sick, passed out. It was bad. And this is my first experience with this. So the medicine took days to get out of my system. I was sick to my stomach for days because my body just had so much pumped into it and trying to get that baby out that it didn't know what to do with it. And like it took me days to feel somewhat normal when it came to like having things in my system. So they give you pain medicine after you give birth if you tear. And so I'm taking that because I can barely walk. It was so painful to walk. So I'm taking that medication along with whatever's already in my system. It was insane. It was just insane. If I made a list of everything that was put into me, like that would explain why I felt so horrible. And I took that medication for pain for an entire week because I was pretty much forced to have him when I did. Now my water did break, so obviously they have to get him out, and it could have been a C-section, which could have been a totally different experience, but my body was forced into it. And nothing was natural at all. Nothing at all was natural. And it's such a bummer looking back on it because of my recovery and how I was dealing with being a noontime mom, and it could have just been a whole lot better. So I told myself, if I do this again, I'm going to do it unmedicated. I'm going to be Earth Mama. I'm going to do it. I'm strong. I can do it. And leading up to my second delivery, I was like, yes, I can totally do this. Then the day came and the pain started. My water broke. And like I said, within 2 hours, he was in my arms. So I had no choice. But while I was in that pain, in that horrible, horrible pain, I was like, I need an epidural, but I'm at home. So I knew that I didn't. And I was able to do it. Yes, it was horrible, horrible pain. I didn't have any medication in me. We almost had him in the car. Then we almost had him in the lobby. Then we almost had him in triage. We almost had him in the hallway. And then finally, I was able to keep him at bay until we got into the room. But yes, it was such a better experience. I didn't have all that medication pumped into me. My body naturally did what it was supposed to do. He came fast and furious, and my body could handle it. I only tore because she gave me an episiotomy. So I didn't tear, technically. She cut me because his head was so big that they didn't want him to tear me because he was coming so fast. But my body was naturally doing what it's supposed to. I didn't push for like a good hour. My body was pushing on its own, and I was not doing anything. My body did everything that it was supposed to. I was breathing through it all, screaming through it all, freaking out because it was happening so fast. But my body did it. Totally did it. And I know I've heard so many stories of women saying that their body does it. If you can handle that quick pain, I know some people it's not quick. Some people it's hours upon hours of that excruciating pain. Totally get it. 100%. Just being able to experience it myself and know that my body can do it, you feel so much stronger. You feel like empowered. It is insane. Totally insane. And I am not an Earth Mama. I am not a crunchy mom. I'm not one of those people, but it was an amazing experience. And I was immediately able to get up. There was, I will say that the only medication that they gave me was somewhat numbing when she did the episiotomy. That was local. That's what you get when you have like a toothache or something. It was that. I still felt kind of what was happening, but it wasn't horrible pain. It was just kind of like pressure down there. And it was just because she cut me. And I mean, that was like 2 stitches and I was good to go. And I could walk immediately. I could bend over. I could go to the bathroom. There was no passing out, no puking. There was none of that. It was amazing. And he was an almost 10-pound baby at 2 weeks early. So I delivered within minutes of getting to the hospital, 10-pound baby, no medication, no epidural. I did it all natural and it was amazing. It was amazing. Now, I hear people talk about like hypnobirthing. I didn't have time for that. Like ain't nobody got time for that when it came to Nolan getting out. I mean, I had every nurse. If you've watched my birth story, you know what I'm talking about. But yes, my unmedicated birth was a million times better than my medicated one. I kind of didn't have an option that I knew of the first time around because my water broke. It wasn't just, I wasn't just being induced. It was for a reason. So I'm not too bitter about it, but now having this other experience, it's like, oh, I think that's how it's supposed to be. Just your body naturally getting that baby out. Once again, I do not judge on anything. You do you. Whatever works for you. If you want that epidural, and I hope it works for you, because they can be amazing. They also can just not be. It cannot go very well with the epidural. So I hope you guys enjoy this little look at what medicated versus unmedicated can actually do for your body. You will feel better without the medication. And I'm not the only one who's done this. I've talked to other moms who say they just feel better without having all that medication. I didn't even have an IV in when I gave birth to Nolan. And it was amazing. It was so freeing and it was awesome. So next go around when baby number 3 decides to come into our family, I hope I can have another unmedicated birth, maybe a home birth. I'm not exactly sure. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed that little look at my birth stories and what I prefer. If you guys have any comments, leave them down below, but make them friendly. I only like friendly comments and I love to interact with you guys. So please leave those comments. Let me know what kind of birth you had. If you're willing to share those stories with me, I would love to hear them. Also, if you have any questions whatsoever, always leave those down in the comments because I would love to answer any of your questions. If you have any more video ideas, all that kind of fun stuff, leave them in the comments. Love to hear what you guys have to say. I hope you're having an amazing day and I'll see you guys next time. Bye guys.